Hello my is. Bạn có chán việc học thuộc danh sách từ vựng nhưng lại quên sạch chỉ sau một tuần? Nếu thầy nói rằng có một cách thông minh hơn, nhanh hơn và thật sự thú vị để ghi nhớ từ vựng tiếng Anh mãi mãi thì sao? Trong video này, thầy sẽ chỉ cho bạn cách dừng lãng phí thời gian và bắt đầu học từ vựng theo cách mà não của bạn yêu thích nhất. Thầy biết rất là nhiều bạn đã từng hỏi, thầy, em nên học từ vựng như thế nào cho nhớ lâu và dùng được khi giao tiếp? Câu hỏi rất là hay. Và nó bắt đầu với một sự thật đơn giản. Ngữ cảnh là vua. Context is king. Và trong video này, thầy sẽ chia thành 5 phần để bạn dễ theo dõi hơn. Part 1. Why context is king. Fixing the foundational problem. Part 2. Building your vocabulary system. Turning passive into active. Part 3. Bringing vocabulary to life. Listening and speaking. Part 4. Integrating vocabulary. Storytelling and daily habits. Part 5. Mastering vocabulary. Review and long-term strategy. Ngoài ra, có thể bạn đang lăn tăn vài điều khi chúng ta xem những mẹo này. Đừng lo, nhớ xem hết vì ở cuối video, thầy sẽ trả lời 10 câu hỏi phổ biến nhất về việc học từ vựng tiếng Anh. Những câu hỏi có lẽ giống của bạn đấy. Part 1. Why context is king. Fixing the foundational problem. Section 1. Why memorizing words alone doesn't work. A lot of people think, if I just memorize 1,000 or 3,000 words, I'll be fluent. Let me tell you something funny. A 6-year-old child knows about 2,000 words. By the time they're 10, they know over 20,000 words. So if someone told you, learn 1,000 words and you'll be fluent, I'm sorry, but they might be joking, or they just don't understand how language works. See, learning a word by itself is like learning a person's name, but never meeting them. Imagine you memorize the word apple. Okay, great. But do you know how to use it in a sentence? Do you know when people actually say it? Can you tell the difference between apple pie and apple store? That's the problem. If you just memorize flashcards without understanding how words live in real conversation, it's like collecting puzzle pieces, but never putting them together. Section 2. Why context helps you remember better. Now here's why context is so powerful. When you learn a word inside a story or inside a real conversation, your brain links it with emotion, with visuals, with sound. Let me ask you this. Do you remember the lyrics of your favorite song? Can you remember a funny scene from a movie? That's context. That's why stories, dialogue, and even memes help us remember better than random word lists. There's a scientific reason too. Our brains are designed to remember patterns, situations, and meaning, not isolated data. So when you learn the word run inside a sentence like, I run every morning before work, it's easier to remember. Why? Because now you have an image, a routine, maybe even a feeling of being tired or healthy or disciplined. Section 3. Flashcards still have a place. Don't get me wrong, flashcards still help. They're like little tools, useful for review, for repetition. They help you bring words back to the surface when you start to forget them. So I'm not saying stop using flashcards. I'm saying don't only use them. If you want to be fluent, if you want to speak like a native, you need to go beyond just memory. You need to use the words, feel the words, play with them. Section 4. Vocabulary learned in isolation versus vocabulary learned in context. Let me give you 2 examples. You tell me which one feels more powerful. 1. Learn the word frustrated. Definition: feeling annoyed or angry because you cannot do something. In Vietnamese, bực bội. 2. Learn the word frustrated inside this story. Yesterday, I tried to fix my Wi-Fi for 3 hours. I started the router, unplugged everything, called the company. Nothing worked. I was so frustrated. I wanted to scream. Which one will you remember tomorrow? Exactly, the second one, because you didn't just learn the word, you felt it. Okay, my ace, that's part 1. We talked about why learning with context is powerful, how flashcards fit in. Spoiler, they help, but aren't enough. And saw why words and stories stick better. In part 2, I'm going to show you how to build your personal vocabulary system. Turn passive words into active ones, and always learn words and phrases, not isolation. Part 2. Building your vocabulary system. Turning passive into active. How do you take the words you're learning and actually make them a part of your life, your conversations, your thoughts? This is about creating habits and using techniques that make words stick, like glue. Section 1. What makes words stick in your brain? Before we jump into methods, let's talk about memory. The human brain loves patterns, images, stories, and using information. When you just read a word one time, your brain forgets it fast, like a leaf in the wind. But when you see it in a sentence, hear it in a conversation, use it in a sentence, write it down, tell someone a story with it, that's when magic happens. The more ways you touch the word, the stronger it stays. So we need to attack vocabulary from multiple directions, not just reading, not just listening, but reading, listening, speaking, writing, and thinking. Section 2. Create your own personal vocabulary list, but smarter. Most people make this mistake. They open Google, search 3,000 most common English words, and try to memorize them all. That's like trying to eat an entire watermelon in one bite. Don't do that. Instead, build your own vocabulary list based on words that you need, words that show up in conversations you want to have, the job that you want to get, or the shows you watch. Here's how you do it. 1. Keep a vocabulary notebook or app. Every time you come across a word you don't know in a movie, book, or conversation, write it down. But don't just write the word. Write the sentence you found it in. Add a translation if needed. Write your own sentence with the word. 2. Organize by topic or theme. Group words by topic. Food, travel, emotions, technology, relationships, etc. That way, when you want to talk about something specific, your brain knows where to go. 3. Use spaced repetition apps. This is optional. If you like tech, apps like Anki or Quizlet help you review words at the right time, before you forget them, but always try to add example sentences. Don't just rely on translation alone. Section 3. Learn words in phrases, not just words. This is a huge tip nobody told me when I was younger. Learn chunks of language, not single words. Don't just learn responsible. Learn be responsible for. Don't just learn interested. Learn be interested in. Learn look forward to, take advantage of, depend on. Why? Because you'll use it more naturally in sentences. You'll remember the preposition, which is usually hard for learners. You'll sound more fluent and confident. So when you learn a word, ask yourself, how is it used? What words usually come with it? What does a sentence with this phrase look like in real life? You can find this by reading, watching shows with subtitles, listening to podcasts, talking with native speakers. Section 4. Use the words you learn immediately. Here's another truth. If you don't use the word, you'll lose the word. That's the forgetting curve in action. So after you learn a new word, use it in the same day, at least 2 to 3 times. Say it out loud, write a message with it, use it in your diary or journal, comment on a YouTube video using the word. Make it come alive in your life. So that's part 2, building your system, finding your own words, learning phrases, and using words right away. In part 3, we're going to activate those words. We'll dive into the power of listening and speaking, because you can't just read and write your way to fluency. Part 3, bringing vocabulary to life, listening and speaking. Now we're going to focus on using those words through listening and speaking. You've got to say it out loud. You've got to hear it used in real life. Section 1, the power of listening. Let's start with listening. I want you to think about this. Babies don't learn from reading. They don't study flashcards. They listen for hours, for months, every single day. That's how a 1-year-old child understands simple commands like, come here, or give me that. They hear these words over and over in real situations with real people. That's context. That's repetition. That's how you actually learn a language. So if you're trying to build vocabulary, you need to do what kids do. Listen a lot. Section 2, activate listening for vocabulary. So how can you listen in a way that actually helps you grow your vocabulary? Let me give you a few tips. 1, listen with intention. Find YouTube videos, movies, or podcasts that use everyday language and are around your level. Don't worry about understanding every word. The goal is to catch repeated vocabulary and listen for how words are used in sentences. 2, use subtitles, but don't rely on them. Watch once with English subtitles, if available, then again without. This helps your brain connect the sound with the meaning. 3. Rewatch, re-listen. You don't need 100 different videos. You need a few good ones watched, listened to multiple times. Repetition wins. Section 3. Activating vocabulary through speaking. Now let's talk about speaking. Let me guess. Some of you are shy to speak. Maybe you're afraid of making mistakes, or your pronunciation isn't perfect yet. Forget perfect. Practice makes perfect, but silence makes nothing. When you don't speak, your brain doesn't connect words to muscle memory. You may know the word apple, but if you've never said it out loud, your mouth doesn't know how to say it fast in a sentence. You'll freeze. Speaking is a physical skill, just like dancing or boxing. You've got to train your mouth, not just your brain. Section 4. Speaking practice methods. So how do you practice speaking, even if you don't have anyone to talk to? Here are a few methods. 1. Shadowing. Watch a video, pause after each sentence, and repeat out loud. Try to copy the speaker exactly. Tone, speed, everything. 2. Record yourself. Say a few sentences using new words, then listen. You'll hear where you're strong and where you need to improve. Don't worry. No one else has to hear it. Section 5. Practice with simple sentences and dialogues. Now, let's put those new words into action. To start, take 3 to 5 new words and use them to create simple sentences or in a very short dialogue. This helps you get comfortable using the words out loud in basic structures. For example, let's say your new words are appointment, cancel, flu, reschedule, and clinic. Make a little dialogue like this. Hi, I need to cancel my appointment. I have the flu. Would you like to reschedule? Yes. Can I come next week? Sure, the clinic is open Monday to Friday. Awesome. 5 words, real usage, spoken out loud. Start small like this to build confidence. Alright, that wraps up part 3. Listening helps you hear vocabulary in action. Speaking, even simple sentences, helps you activate those words and build muscle memory. If you just study silently, you'll forget. But if you speak and listen regularly, you'll remember. And more importantly, you'll use what you learned. In the next part, we're going to make vocabulary truly unforgettable using the power of storytelling and creating a consistent daily routine. Part 4. Integrating vocabulary, storytelling, and daily habits. In this part, we're going to take everything you've learned, the importance of context, building your system, and using listening/speaking, and integrate it deeply using storytelling and daily habits. Learning vocabulary isn't just about memorizing words. It's about living with them, feeling them, using them, and the more senses you engage, hearing, speaking, seeing, imagining, writing, the deeper those words stick. Section 1. The power of storytelling. Here's the idea. Humans are built for stories. We remember information better when it's inside a story. That's why we remember movie scenes and jokes better than textbook definitions. So instead of studying words one by one, take a few new words and build a short story around them. And it doesn't have to be serious. It can be bizarre, funny, dramatic, whatever helps it stick in your mind. Just make sure the story makes logical sense, the grammar is reasonably correct, and the vocabulary is used accurately in context. Section 2. The story technique. Level up your practice. You practice with 3 to 5 words in sentences or dialogues in part 3. Now, let's level up with stories. Pick 5 to 10 new words you want to master this week. Write a short story, 5 to 10 sentences, using as many of them as you can. Here's a crazy example with 3 words: jealousy, birthday, and cake. It was my friend's birthday. She got a big chocolate cake with her name on it. Everyone was singing. I smiled, but inside, I was jealous. I didn't even get a cake on my last birthday. See that? Those 3 words are living together. They're part of a scene. Now let's try a slightly bigger example with 5 words. Vanish, suspicious, investigate, fridge, crumbs. One night, my sandwich vanished from the fridge. I was very suspicious because only my brother was home. I decided to investigate. I followed a trail of crumbs to his room, and there he was, eating the last bite. It's silly, but memorable, and it uses the words in context. If you're feeling ambitious, challenge yourself with 10 to 20 words, but starting with 5 to 10 is perfectly fine and very effective. Section 3. Turn input into output. Every time you watch a video or read an article in English, try to turn it into output. Don't just passively consume, be active. Watch a video, pause after a few minutes, say out loud what you understood. Try to summarize it using your own words and include some new vocabulary you heard. Read an article, highlight new words. Try writing 2 to 3 sentences or even a short paragraph using those words, perhaps summarizing the article's point. You're not just a sponge, you're a speaker and a writer, and output is where your brain consolidates learning. Section 4. Build real habits. Your daily routine. Learning vocabulary is not about doing one big study session and then forgetting for a week. It's about small, consistent steps every day. Here's a simple daily routine you can try, incorporating everything we've discussed. Morning, 10 to 15 minutes. Review yesterday's words/phrases, maybe using flashcards or your notebook. Read a short article or watch a video clip, 2 to 3 minutes, for new input. Write down 3 to 5 new words/phrases you encountered, noting the sentence context. Afternoon or evening, 15 to 20 minutes. Write your own simple sentences or a short dialogue using the 3 to 5 new words, like in part 3. Or write a short story, 5 to 10 sentences, using 5 to 10 new words from this week, like in part 4. Say your sentences, dialogue, or story out loud 2 to 3 times. Record yourself and listen back. Weekly, review vocabulary journal or app. Organize words by category. Try to use new words in real conversations or messages. Challenge yourself with a longer story using 10 to 20 words. Remember, quality is more important than quantity. It's better to truly learn 5 words and use them than to memorize 50 and forget them. So that's part 4. We saw how powerful storytelling is for remembering words and built a simple daily routine. Consistency is key. In part 5, the final part, we'll talk about how to keep these words long-term, how to beat the forgetting curve, and use tools like flashcard apps the smart way. Part 5, Mastering Vocabulary, Review and Long-Term Strategy. Alright guys, you've made it to part 5. And if you've been watching from the start, then first of all, respect. You're serious about learning English, and I can feel that energy from here. Now's the final lesson. And this one is all about making your vocabulary stick forever and truly turn it into active English skills you can use anytime, anywhere. You've learned the strategies. Now let's talk about maintenance and mastery. Section 1. Reviewing the smart way. Beating the forgetting curve. Here's the truth. If you don't review and use your new vocabulary consistently, you'll forget most of it. That's science. The forgetting curve is real. But we can beat it. Review isn't just rereading lists. Smart review means reactivating the word in your brain, preferably in context. This is where flashcards, used correctly, and spaced repetition apps like Anki or Quizlet shine. Don't just put word equals translation on the card. Put the word on the front and on the back. Put an example sentence where you found it, your own sentence using the word, maybe a picture or synonym. When you review, say the example sentences out loud. This links the word to your usage and activates your speaking memory. Use the app's system to review words just as you're about to forget them. That's how you build strong memory connections. Section 2. Use it or lose it. Applying vocabulary in real life. Review is important, but the best way to remember a word is to use it in real life. Make it your mission to use 2 to 3 new words you've learned today in actual communication within the next 24 to 48 hours. How? Send a text to a friend using the word. Write a comment online. Use it in a conversation, even if it's just with yourself or recording your voice. Write a journal entry using the word. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create the moment. Every time you successfully use a word in real communication, you strengthen your vocabulary connection. Section 3. Speak like you write and write like you speak. Remember the story technique? It's not just for writing. Once you write your story using new words, speak it out loud. Practice saying those sentences. This helps bridge the gap between your writing vocabulary and your speaking vocabulary. Similarly, when you learn a useful phrase from listening or speaking, try writing it down and using it in a message or story. Practice using the same vocabulary across different skills. Section 4. Teach someone else, the ultimate test. This one's a game changer. After you learn a new word or phrase, teach it to someone else. Explain the meaning, give an example sentence. You could teach a friend, a family member, or even pretend you're teaching and record a mini lesson. When you teach, you have to understand the concept deeply yourself to explain it clearly. This process locks the word into your own memory like nothing else. Section 5. Building consistency, not just intensity. We've covered a lot. Context, systems, listening, speaking, storytelling, reviewing, and using words in real life. You don't need to do every single thing every single day. The key is consistency. Pick the techniques that resonate most with you and fit into your schedule. Maybe it's 10 minutes of listening and finding 3 new words in the morning, and 15 minutes of writing and speaking a short story using words you're reviewing in the evening. Find your rhythm. Small, consistent effort over time leads to massive results. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for progress. Embrace the mistakes. They are a part of your learning journey. I'm proud of you. Seriously, learning vocabulary is one of the hardest parts of English, but it doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be painful. You just need the right strategy and consistent practice, and now you have it. So go out there and use your English. Speak it, write it, share your stories, be brave. And remember, context is more powerful than lists. Flashcards help when used smartly with context. Stories make words unforgettable. Listening helps you absorb language naturally. Speaking activates your vocabulary. Using words immediately beats the forgetting curve. And you are more capable than you think. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps you grow, not just your English, but your confidence too. Now go write a story. Go speak your truth. But before you go, one final crucial part. I know for sure some of you might still have lingering questions. Excellent. That shows you're thinking seriously about learning. Here are the 10 most common questions I usually get, along with quick answers based on the video's content. Let's dive into the Q&A right now. Teacher, I think this method is good, but it is more time-consuming than traditional flashcards. For sure, you'll feel like you need to invest a bit more time initially to find context, write stories, but that time is time you're turning the vocabulary into yours. Learning traditional flashcards might be the fast way, but you forget quickly too. The method helps you remember much longer and actually use the words. It's an initial investment to save time repeating later. And most importantly, it's generally effective. Writing short stories with new words sounds interesting, but I find it too difficult. I don't know what to write. Don't overthink it. The story doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need deep meaning or 100% logic. Start with simple, everyday things. Tell about your day, a funny memory, a situation you just encountered, or feel free to create crazy, humorous stories. The important thing is to use the vocabulary in the sentence that makes sense, even if that sense is a little weird. I'm really shy to speak. My pronunciation isn't standard yet, so how can I practice speaking with new words as you guided? I don't have a partner to practice with. The key is, be your own practice partner. Use the shadowing technique. Repeating after native speakers, record your own voice, and listen back. Even if it feels a little cringe at first, it's super effective. Or simply create short dialogues and say them to yourself. Your mouth and your brain needs to get used to making sounds and arranging words. Don't be afraid if your pronunciation isn't perfect yet. Focus on clarity and daring to speak already. Practicing consistency for just a few minutes every day makes a big difference. There are too many English words. How do I know which words are the words I need to learn? The words you need are the words you encounter regularly during your English learning and usage. These words can be from movies you're watching, the articles you're reading, or appearing in topics you care about, work, hobbies, travel. Instead of learning generic lists, write down the words that you actually come across and what you want to use in real life. Building your own vocabulary list is the smartest step. I still use flashcards on apps like Anki and Quizlet. Should I stop? No, as I said, flashcards are still useful tools. The issue is how you use them. Don't just put the word and definition/translation. Create flashcards with the word, example sentences, most important, images, if possible, and even audio. Use flashcards to review the words you've already learned in context. That's how you help the vocabulary stick after you've learned and used it. How do I differentiate and transfer words from passive vocabulary, understood when listening/reading, to active vocabulary, can be used when speaking/writing? This is exactly the main goal of this video. The secret is you must use that word. Listening and reading help you build passive vocabulary. To make it active, you have to do speaking and writing. Choose the words you understand but have never used. Put them into your own stories, write messages, say them out loud when practicing. Repeat the input. Listening/reading, process, understand in context, output, speaking/writing. Loop is how you turn passive into active. You recommended using new words right away on the same day, but what if I don't have an opportunity to use them? An opportunity here doesn't necessarily mean a real conversation with someone else. An opportunity can be writing a sentence in your diary, recording your voice saying that sentence, writing a comment online, if appropriate, mentally repeating it a few times, or include it in a story you write yourself. Create an opportunity for the vocabulary to be used, even if it's just with yourself. That interaction helps your brain remember much better. With this method, how many new words per day is reasonable? Don't be too greedy. Quality over quantity. Starting with 3 to 5 words per day is already a great goal. The important thing is that you truly understand, can use, and remember those words through context and practice. If you can effectively handle 10 words, even better. But don't try to cram 20 to 30 words and end up forgetting everything. Find a number that suits your pace and time, as long as you maintain consistency. Which type of words should I focus on first? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc. Instead of classifying by grammar, learn the words you encounter and need. When learning words in context from movies, books, conversations, you will naturally learn nouns, verbs, adjectives related to that topic. Learning by theme, example shopping, emotions, work, or by situations you encounter is a more natural and effective way than trying to learn entire lists of nouns or verbs. What is the most important lesson I should remember from this video? If I had to summarize, it is, don't just memorize definitions. Live with the vocabulary through context and practice using it. Stop learning lists. Start learning like a native speaker. Listen, repeat, use it in sentences, put into stories. Turn vocabulary into part of how you communicate and think. Consistency is the master key. I hope this Q&A section helps clarify things for you. Just apply what you've learned in this video to real life. You'll definitely see your vocabulary grow day by day. And importantly, you'll be able to use it naturally. Keep going. You got this. Nhớ like, bình luận, chia sẻ và đăng ký. Embrace the journey, enjoy the process. Hẹn gặp lại mọi. Cùng vượt qua mọi khó khăn vì chúng ta biết rằng ngày mai sẽ tươi sáng hơn. Dù có khó khăn ta vẫn không ngừng bước vượt qua bao tố kinh.